Grizzlies lose once again on Monday night at the Bucks. What is going on with our beloved Grizzlies? I'll discuss this and more. I'm Aaron Moser, and this is the Moser Show. So yes, the Grizzlies find themselves on the wrong side of the scoreboard. Once again, they finished the road trip, the 5-game road trip, 2-3. Very disappointing excursion out to the West Coast. And then they finished in Milwaukee on Monday night. And they lost 110-103. Giannis Antetokounmpo absolutely dominated along with Eric Bledsoe. That Bucks team is going to be really, really good as the season progresses and if they can mesh together. But I think there's a lot of problems going on with the Grizzlies right now. And they started off the season so hot, and we all thought, this team is perfect. Who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop their bench production? And, their bench has still been pretty good. They're averaging around 52 points per game. But I think it boils down more than to just points. I think points are definitely important. During the season, the Grizzlies are 3-4 when scoring less than 100 points, and 4-2 when they score more than 100 points. The Grizzlies are currently 26th in points per game at 101.2 points, which really isn't too far off from the rest of the teams in the league. And definitely, that points per game is definitely hindered by the fact that the Grizzlies still play a lower pace of play than the other teams in the league, even though they're playing significantly faster than they did last year. If you look at the stats on that, they are 29th in possessions per game, 98.6, and that's up about 2.3 possessions from 2016. So they're playing a lot faster, and you can evidently see that. If you just watch some of their games, and then you look at they're a much younger team this year than they were last year, and so that's definitely helped them push the pace and play a faster game. So yes, I think they're scoring points, but why are they losing? Chandler Parsons had a very sarcastic and smart aleck tweet the other day. Somebody on Twitter asked him, why did you lose to the Bucks? And he simply answered, they scored more points than us. Yes, that's true, but there's factors that contributed to why you lost. And you can definitely see it in the late game on Monday night. They were up 94-89 with about 7.5 minutes to go, and they just gave up the lead. And I think part of the problem was, you look at the end of the game, you just watch the last 5 minutes or so, and who had the ball in his hands? Tyreke Evans. Now, everybody has been praising Tyreke Evans. He's averaging 18.5 points per game off the bench. Most people, think he can probably be the sixth man of the year. Yes, that's great. But he's only averaging 3 assists per game, and he's handling the ball most of the time. It's kind of, I guess you can kind of say it's kind of like, Melo or Kobe. He's taking a lot of shots and when he's playing a lot of minutes, and so he's not getting other guys involved. And you can just watch that. When he takes a guy off the dribble, a crossover or whatnot, gets into the lane, he's not looking to pass. He's trying to finish. And you can evidently see that at the end of the Bucks game. He missed about 3 layups or so at the end of the game, and, there could have been passes out to the 3-point line. They needed points bad. They ended up losing by 7. And I think the change needs to happen is they need to I think there needs to be a change in the starting lineup. I think you need to move Evans there in his experience and put Dillon Brooks back on the bench. Now, obviously, that still doesn't solve the problem on the bench that there's not really anybody that's per se a passer, because you look at Mario Chalmers, he's more of a scoring point guard. Chandler Parsons is a three-point shooter. Brandon Wright's a center. And Ben McLemore, we're yet to see what he can really do coming off, the major ankle injury. And so, yes, I think Evans, David Fizdale needs to put him in the starting lineup and move Dillon Brooks to the bench. And they still, even though they Thankfully, David Fisdale has stopped playing Andrew Harrison. The starters are still getting off to slow starts. They gave up 34 points in the first quarter. Yes, they scored 29, but they gave up 34. And Dylan Brooks' defense has been amazing, and he's averaging 9.3 points per game. I'm not really sure if he's still in the running for Rookie of the Year. There's a lot of games left to play. But he's shooting 30% from the 3-point line. When he figures out his offense, you can definitely move him, back into the starting lineup at some point. There could be injuries on, hopefully not, along the way. Mike Conley, he's been dealing with injuries, and, Mike and Mark have kind of struggled lately. They're kind of showing age a little bit. Mark got beat on the boards badly at the end of the game by John Henson. You gave up 17, let me see how many points Henson scored. He scored 17 points on Marc Gasol, who a lot of people think is the best center in the league. That's just unacceptable. And you gave up 8 rebounds to him, 9 rebounds to Antetokounmpo, and 7 rebounds to Eric Bledsoe, the point guard. Now, Eric Bledsoe is very physical, but that's just, you can't have that. Jarrell Martin finished the game with just 2 rebounds. 2. And you're the starting power forward. That's another problem. He's young and he's, trying to develop. And hopefully when we get Jermichael Green back, that will strengthen the starting lineup a little bit. But, just some inexperience is definitely showing from this team. And, we weren't really sure what to expect going in because not a lot of guys had played big minutes. You look at the young guys, the rookies, they hadn't played a lot. Chandler Parsons hadn't really played a lot. Ben McLemore, was coming off injury. Wayne Selden hasn't played a whole lot of minutes other than the playoffs, and so there's a lot of circumstantial stuff. You're not really sure what you have on your team and what kind of team you're going to be. You don't know your identity. And so the Grizzlies definitely need to figure out that soon and they'll definitely have a chance, going into these next 4 games at home. You play tonight, 7 o'clock versus the Pacers. The Pacers, a very poor team, and after Paul George left, they're not looking too hot there. So they should be able to pick up a win tonight. Now, obviously the Grizzlies struggle somehow against bad teams, and then they go out and beat the Warriors and beat the Rockets, for 2 games. And it's just crazy. I'm not really sure to understand. It's very hard to understand what is going on with this team. They're very up and down. And that is, again, factored in by, the inexperience and youth on this team. I think another change that needs to occur, I think Chandler Parsons needs to get some more minutes. He has the second highest point plus or minus rating. He's at 5.6, and, he's shooting the ball really well. I think he needs to get, more time to kind of continue to get his legs underneath him and get, him more into the game. So I think, moving Evans to the starting lineup, getting the experience back on that front, because think about it, you're starting 3 really young guys, Jarrell Martin, James Ennis, and Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is a rookie. Jarrell Martin hasn't played a whole lot of NBA minutes before this year. And James Ennis is still, he's still inexperienced. He struggles sometimes in, late game situations and whatnot. He hasn't shot the ball well. And Evans really has shot the ball well. He's shooting 40% from the 3-point line. He has really developed that after, these 3 years since winning, the Rookie of the Year. He has developed a shot. And I think just something that he needs to work on is his court vision. If he looks to pass, he gets into the lane a lot. He beats a lot of guys off the dribbles, and he gets into the paint, and he just needs to look. Chandler Parsons has been open a lot. Teams are sagging off of him because they're simply not passing him the ball. You can't shoot the ball if you don't get the ball. And so the more and more we let Chandler Parsons become a threat on the offensive end, the better it's going to be, because teams are going to have to respect his shot. They're going to move, out. They're not going to sag in. That gives more lanes for Tyreke Evans to score and not as many contested guys on him when he's trying to go for layups. So, yes, I think that's a change that needs to be made. Hopefully the Grizzlies can sort things out after, during this 4-game home stretch against some subpar opponents. So that's the Grizzlies. moving on to another Memphis basketball team, the University of Memphis Tigers men's basketball team beat Arkansas Little Rock. They were down 21-7 in the first quarter. Do you understand how painful that is for a Memphis basketball fan? To Arkansas Little Rock. Adam's not even going to get into it. It is so frustrating to watch this team sometimes, and I hope Tubby Smith can get these guys to play better and play together. They have some pretty easy competition other than, until conference play. They're not really playing any huge opponents. And Memphis football plays this weekend versus SMU. If they win on Saturday, they will clinch the AAC's West Division and will be playing for the AAC Championship. So a lot at stake on Saturday. SMU has been skidding a little bit, some losses, but hopefully the Tigers can pull out another win, clinch the AAC West Division, and it'll be all happy-go-lucky. Well, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to check us out on ahstigerlife.com and check out my blog on WordPress, The Moser. This is the Moser Show, and I'm Aaron Moser.